Hello, fellow Sudokans, and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku puzzle for Sunday, the 26th of June 2022. Hope you are keeping well and enjoying your lovely weekend. It's a very sunny weekend here, although I'm going to have to spend a lot of today inside and on the computer screen, not playing Sudoku, but reading legal stuff, which is not very interesting. Something that is quite interesting, I think, is that in today's, I'm not sure if it's actually from today's Observer or yesterday's Guardian, but you can see it online. A piece by Andy Burnham, who is a local Manchester, I believe, local politician from the Labour Party, who is advocating proportional representation. And excuse me while I clap, because about time that the Labour Party was honest and came into a modern view of this. It's really, the first past the post system is extremely undemocratic. It's pretend democracy in so many cases. It forces people to always choose the lesser of two evils, even if their choice is somewhere entirely different. Like a system like Australia has is a far, far superior democratic system. With their proportional representation, and when you dip down the ballot, etc. This is really much needed for the UK. I mean, when Nick Clegg formed a pact with the Tories, the Liberal Democrat leader Nick Clegg, formed a pact with the Conservative Party. I thought, it's not particularly good. In fact, it's terrible. But at least there may be some moves towards proportional representation, because that's really all the Liberal Democrats could get out of it. And what happened? Well, the Liberal Democrats just voted alongside the Tories on every proposal, allowed everything to pass, and never even got anywhere on proportional representation. I don't think they ever talked about it. It's like, oh yeah, thank you for signing on. Now go away, little boy. Go away and join Facebook or Metaverse, or whatever they're called now, become the spokesperson for them. Really, it's so needed in the UK. Really, their voting system is so out of date. Anyway, it's nice to see some important people in the Labour Party finally, because historically the Labour Party have always thought, well, we are one of the two, and we can kick out the third. We can always keep out the third party by, continuing the system. It's either going to be us or them, but at least we don't have to worry about the they, the third person. Anyway, so let's see if anything comes of it, though. Right, let's get on with today's Sudoku. Now, the Observer Sudoku does not mention its own rating. It doesn't like to judge itself. It's too, I don't know what, I'm trying to think of a good word. It's too self-conscious. There we are. It's too self-conscious to rate its own puzzle. Am I really good? Am I really strong? Or am I just weak? So you can decide which level it is. Now, I will decide too, and I have told you already, because in the thumbnail for this, or in the title, I usually include my own opinion on what the level is. But for me, at this stage, I have absolutely no idea, because I don't play these games, any of them, before starting the video. I just turn on the camera and ramble and click. And so when I say ramble, of course, I'm talking about my vocal rambling. I don't go walkabout or anything. So I better explain the rules very quickly, in case it turns out to be a super simple game. So look, here's a row at the top, and if you count the number of squares, you'll find that there are 9 of these squares, and sometimes called cells, in the top row. And if you count down this column here, you'll see there are 9 squares or cells here. Now, actually, in this column, we already have a 2 and a 1 appearing. You notice these are not the same numbers, because a number cannot repeat within the same row or column. Here we have 5, 7, 9, and 8. So we have those already. We're looking for the other numbers that make up the series 1 to 9. Got the idea? Okay, great. Now, just one more thing to remember. These boxes also contain 9 cells or squares, and which are called blocks usually, and they also need numbers 1 to 9 fitted in them without repeat. Okay, right, now you are a Sudoku master, a Sudoku Zen master maybe, and so you can continue to play. So let's see, 8 blocks down here, 8 blocks down here, and 8 blocks across here. Have you got the idea? What I mean is, if a number can't be repeated within the column or the row, we already have 8s affecting these blue squares in this lower right square in the bottom corner here. And there is only one empty square. So we know that the 8 must go there. It can't go anywhere else. Okay? Got the idea? Look, 8 blocks across here, 8 blocks across here. So these two squares are out as far as 8 is concerned. There is only one empty square. 8 goes there. Now you know how to play Sudoku. Excuse me while I have a cup of tea. Right. Now, what do we know? Okay, so we can sometimes think ahead as well. If this is an easy game, this might not be so easy to understand if it's your first time here. But let's see now. This 8 blocks up here, right? So everything in this column is excluded from digit 8. That leaves 2 squares up here, this one and this one. Now, when we look down here, we don't find any intersecting 8s, so we can't say which is which. But we do know that it appears in the top row here. So that means that it can't appear anywhere except for these 2 squares. So when we consider this block over here, we know that these 3 squares can't be 8 because 8 is either here or here. Okay, and now we have 8 blocking across here, and now we have 8 going up here. Okay, so you see how we kind of think forward a little bit. It's a kind of what if idea. And now we can take the 8 blocking down here, the 8 blocking up here, and the 8 blocking across here. And we can place our 8 just so. And we can't do any more about 8 because if you consider all of the intersecting numbers, what you'll find is 8 is still possible in these squares, and this forms a kind of rectangle of 4 digits. And so, you know, if we get this one, if this is an 8, then this will become an 8, and not this, and not this. But if this becomes an 8, then this will become an 8. So we just need to get one of them, we can get the last one. But at the moment, we can't tell which is which. Okay. That's the basics of Sudoku covered, I think. Excuse me. Tea is swirling around. Okay, now down here we have 1 blocking this square here, so we know that 1 fits there. And the last number that we need for this block here, look, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have a 6. So we know that 6 goes there. And if you want to double check, 7, 8, and 9 are there. Just to make sure you haven't made a mistake. So what do we know now? Now we know that the 6 also blocks up here. We said that the 8 is in these squares, right? But now we also know that the 6 blocks up there, and that's got to be a pair of 6 and 8. Now that might help us later. For the moment, it doesn't help us find the 6 over here just yet, but it might later when we certainly can work out these 3 digits here, and then we can work out these 3 digits here. You see what I mean? If this is 6 and 8, we know that this must contain 2, 3, and 4. Now that's no help at the moment because we don't have any intersecting 2s, 3s, or 4s here. But then we can work out here because we know 2, 3, and 4 are in these 3 squares, and 1, 8, and 6 are in these squares. So we know that in here it must be, I think, 5, 7, and 9. All right. Yes. Okay. And actually, what we have is the 5 and the 9. Okay, this must contain 5, 7, and 9. Actually, you could see it from here as well. Look, 5, 7, and 9, 5, 7, and 9. Blocking down these 2 columns. So we know that 5, 7, and 9 must be here. Now, when we consider this square, we say, can it be a 5? And answer no. Can it be a 9? Answer no. So if it's not 5, not 9, it must be 7. Ooh, we are playing. If you're a beginner, you're doing well. So we know that 5 and 9 are in these 2 squares, but again, it's not going to give us the answer just yet. But let's consider 5 over here, 5 blocking down here, and across there. So we can in fact put 5 like that. And now we can say 5 blocking across here and across here. So this will be a 5 down here. Now we're only 2 numbers missing here, so we should see what they are. They are 3 and 7, and when we look up here, we see an intersecting 7. So we know that this square cannot be 7. So you will be a 7, and you will be a 3. So let's consider what's left to do. Okay, in this block here, we don't yet have a 2. We've got a 1, 3, we don't have a 2. When we see the 2 blocking across here, we know that the 2 must go there. And now we have 2 numbers missing. And missing numbers are 4 and 6. So clearly we have an intersecting 4. So the 4 goes there, and the 6 goes there. And now we come over here and see what's missing. Missing numbers here are 1 and 7. But when we look up here, we are disappointed. We don't find any ones or any 7s to help us just yet. But we can look at these 2 squares and see what's missing, and the missing numbers are 3 and 6. And guess what? We have an intersecting 6. So we know that the 6 goes there and the 3 goes there. It's a nice game, isn't it? It's nice that kind of, when you hone in and reduce the options and then place a digit. It's a lovely game to play. I promise you it is. Take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. Try it. By the way, of course, if you are watching videos and haven't yet attempted to play Sudoku yourself because you're just learning the game, please try it. The fun is in the playing, not in the watching videos. Right. Now, as I said, I don't play these games ahead of time, so I have no idea of the actual solution or the answer to these puzzles. I have to work them out too. Okay, so let me see. I suspect this central block is going to be a key, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight the digits and see if when you click on one number, you'll notice that the other numbers are highlighted. If you're using this SudokuExchange.com, or if you're using some other solver, quite often when you click on one digit, others that are placed will be highlighted, and that will help you to kind of cast your eyes along and see any patterns. For example, I see, this 1 blocking down here, 1 blocking up here. So I happen to know that 1s are going to be somewhere in there, and that can help. And of course, we know 1 is missing over here, but this is not really helping much at the moment. So I'm going to move on to the 2s and see if I can see anything more beautiful with 2s. When I say more beautiful, I mean something likely to give us an answer. I see the 2s are restricted to these 2 squares up here because of this 2 and this 2 blocking up the columns. But that's all at the moment. I see this useful. Please. Okay. Sometimes the number might be highlighted, but I might be thinking a few steps ahead, or looking in a slightly different direction. So just because I'm stuck on a number for a while doesn't mean that I'm necessarily considering that number. I might be looking at something else. Okay, so now we've got something. So when we consider that 7 blocking up here and 7 down here and 7 across here, we know that we can also see a 7 there. As I said, when you highlight the digits, it often helps you to see these things more easily. Okay, now we have 9 blocking across here and 9 blocking up here, so we can fit a 9 there. And if you remember earlier on, I said, do you remember when I said there were, probably not, I would usually forget, but I said there were three numbers that had to go here, which were 5, 7, and 9. Because we had this 6 and 8 going up there, right? So we knew that 6 and 8 were in these two squares, and we worked out the missing numbers here. And so we know that 5 and 9 have to go there. If not, it doesn't matter, because you can still do it like this. So you can see that 9 must go there. But if you remember also now, 5 has to go here. And again, you could see it if you see the 5s blocking up down here, but it's useful if you can remember that, because it will save some time. Okay, and now we have 9 blocking up here, and across here, so we can fit 9 there. And now we have 8-digit 9s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that means we can get the final digit 9 always, right? We always have enough money. You see where my brain, that Freudian slip is going? Well, we never have enough money. 9 blocking up here, 9 blocking up here, and 9 blocking across here. We can always get the last iteration of a particular digit, and that is the final 9. So we don't have to be concerned about digit 9 anymore. We only need numbers 1 through 8, as the Americans would say. English people say 1 to 8, unless they're trying to be American, of course. I have a feeling this is not going to be a beginner level game, an easy level game. I have a feeling this is going to be possibly a medium level game. I mean, I don't know. It could turn out to be much more difficult than that even, but or it could turn out to be an easy level game. But I'm getting the sense, my spidey senses are telling me that this might be a medium level game. But of course, I won't know until I finish playing it. And you really can't tell until you get to very close to the end, actually. At this stage, you can't tell whether it's going to be easy or not. Something I have discovered, which is not particularly useful but at the moment, but might be later, is the 6 blocks here and the 6 blocks here. So we need a 6 for this row, so I know 6s now are like this. Right? As I said, it's not that useful yet. We also know that 6s are going to appear in these squares like this. And we also know that 6s are going to be in those squares like that. So I've plotted out the whole pattern of 6s for you. That's all the possible places where a 6 can go now. Is it going to be useful? I don't know. I also know 5s are in these squares, but up here 5s are in those squares. And is that it? I think that's it, isn't it, for 5s? That's all the remaining 5s. Again, once we have this kind of rectangular pattern, it means we can't do anything until we get one of them. We get one of them, you get the rest. The rest, I mean the other one. There's only 2 missing. Let me show you another tricky problem, is that 7s are in these squares like this, and this is another insoluble problem. Right? When you see 2 in 2 rows, 2 in the other 2 rows, and then 2 in 3 squares across the whole row. So this row has 2, this row has the other 2, and then you have 3 across like this. Again, you can't work out from just that information which is which. But this pattern you'll see quite often when playing Sudoku, and it's always frustrating. Well, to me it is anyway. So I think maybe what I need to do is work out what goes in this block here. We've got 1 blocking down here, and we've got 2 blocking up here. 7 and 5 we don't know. So we know, at least we know 1 and 2 are in these squares. In fact, 2 is like this, but 1 could be like this. And then over here we have 3s like that, because we have 3 blocking up here. And we have 4. All right, so yes, we've got something here. So we've got 3 and 4 blocking up here. So we know that 3 and 4, right? Okay, let me do that again. 3 and 4 block up here, 3 blocks across here, 4 blocks across here, right? So we have 2 squares that must contain 3 or 4. These 2 must contain 3 or 4. Now, that means that these 2 squares must not contain 3 or 4, must contain 6 and 8. Yes, indeed. These 2 squares must contain either 6 or 8. And a very easy question to ask is, can we put an 8 here? The answer is clearly no. So we know that the 8 must go here and the 6 must go here. Excuse me. Now, oh, I said there were 6s. I said go in either of these 2 squares, I think. So, but now we can say 6 blocking up here. So now we know that, excuse me, 6 will be in that square there. We can't finish 6 off though, because it's still possible in these squares. So a little bit more to do there. Oh dear, excuse me. Have I got any tea left? Yeah, I have a small amount left. Excuse me, it's probably cold by now. Very tepid. Not so good. Right, so where do we go from here? I'm going to say this is not a beginner level game. I've already decided it's at least medium level. Well, we've got 8 across here and 8 across here, so, and 8 down here, and so we can say our 8 fits there now, and that's the final 8. We have 8 and 9 are finished. What goes in these 2 squares? The missing numbers are 1 and 2, right? And now we can see an intersecting 2, so the 2 is going to go there and the 1 will go there. Now we can say 1 blocking across here, 1 going up here. And that's our 1. We have 2 numbers left here, which are 1 and 5, but again, we can't place them just yet. We'll come back and get them later. Missing numbers here, if you're desperate to know, are 3 and 6. And if you see 3 and 2 squares in a block like this, and then you look along the column or the row, and you see one other empty square like this, you'll know this must be the same number. So 3, 6 here, this has to be 3 or 6 as well. But again, that's not going to help us find the answer just yet. We need more information than that. Oh, actually, it is going to give us the answer. I take that back. Because 3 must be in one of these 2 squares, right? This has to be, okay, the missing numbers up here are 2 and 3 only here, 2 and 3. So this can't be a 3, right? 3, okay, we need a 3 to complete this column here. Do you agree? So 3 must go either here or here. Can't go anywhere else. So this is not a 3, but we need a 3 in this column, so this must be a 3. And this then is, now there's only 1 digit left, must be a 6. This will be a 6 here. And then 6 blocks across here, and across here, and up there, giving us a 6 there, which is now finished. 6, 8, and 9 are now done. Yeah, this is definitely. I'm sure this is a medium level game. I'm convinced it is. 2 blocks across here like this. It's not going to be harder than medium. 2 blocks up here, and I think it's just a bit harder than an easy level game. So now 2 blocks across here. If you remember, we had these two as either 2 or 3 now to complete this column, and this 2 means this can't be 2. So 2 is here, 3 is in that square there. Missing numbers up here now are 1 and 4, and we can't get them just yet, so we've got to look elsewhere. What's missing from here and here? Well, we don't yet have a 1 and we don't yet have a 7 in this column, but we have an intersecting 1 here, so we know that the 1 must go in that square and the 7 must go there. And things are closing in on us in a good way. This is missing 7. And now 7 blocks up here like that, 7 blocks across here. And that's the final 7. So we now have 6 through 9 in a very bad American accent. And what's left to be done now? I've forgotten what's up here. Is this 2, 3, 4? Okay, so we've got the 2 blocking across here, 2 across here. 2 is now complete. 3 blocks across here. This will be a 3, and 4 is the last number that we need for this column or this block. And 4 blocks here, putting a 4 in that square. The last number now here in this block is a 1. And now we need only one more digit to complete this row. Can you see what it is? Quickly. It's a 5. Not sure if you beat me or I beat you there. 5 blocks down here, 5 across here. That's a 5. 1 blocks across here, 1 goes here, and the final digit to go here is a 4. 4 blocks across here, putting a 4 in that square there. There's only one excuse me, empty square here, and it will take a 1. And here we still are lacking a 3. And there's just 2 empty squares to go, and if we look along these rows here, we'll find out what they are. This one needs a 3, and this one here still needs a 4 to finish the grid and today's medium level observer Sudoku puzzle. If you are an easy level game player, come back tomorrow. Monday and Tuesday usually are very easy level games from The Guardian. If you're a more medium level player, click on the links for medium, click on the playlist for medium level games on this channel. And if you prefer the more difficult stuff, come back later in the day for the New York Times or the Los Angeles Times, which are always trickier than the Guardian or Observer puzzles. Oh, I take that back, not always, of course, most of the time. There we go. Bye-bye.